cannot give you back your homes or restore your dead to life. But perhaps I can give you justice in the name of our king.
Hey everyone, before we get into the video, I want to thank my sponsor Geek Fuel for supporting our channel. They send out monthly mystery boxes filled with tons of awesome gear, and this month, if you use my special link in the description, you not only get an exclusive Game of Thrones item not available anywhere else, but also an additional licensed Game of Thrones product in your box, so feel free to go check them out. The big question is, how will Game of Thrones end? We've speculated, we've suggested who would sit on the Iron Throne when it's all said and done. We've come up with legitimate evidence to support every character's claim to the throne, like Daenerys' dragon blood, Jon's king's blood, Gendry's king's blood, and much more. But if there is one deafening statement that was made, it has to be when George R.R. Martin said that A Song of Ice and Fire would have a bittersweet ending. Don't we all hate bittersweet endings? Even in a fantasy like this, it would be nice if the bad guys died and all the good guys prevailed. But you know it will never be like that. The story has been creating an environment in which the audience becomes reserved and even afraid to get too close to characters. It started with Ned Stark, and now no one is safe from a heartbreaking death. Many can argue that Game of Thrones does not have to share the same ending with A Song of Ice and Fire, and those people are right. However, David and Dan, the showrunners, did say that even though the journey to the end is a bit different from the books to the show, the beginning and the conclusion will be the same. Now, of course, there can still be some show characters that outlive book characters and also the other way around. But regardless of the similarities and differences, the conclusion will be had in both series. So what will really happen as it all fades? There is no way to be certain, and there is no way to even be realistic when predicting. Martin is easily one of the most intelligent writers in the world, and his story cannot be foretold by any of us. The show is ending, only 2 short seasons left, and the result will be a bittersweet conclusion to the world of Ice and Fire as we know it. As it draws near, we can see Jon Snow wants there to be peace, while Daenerys wants power at all costs. There is a side of darkness beyond the wall that wants to overtake the entirety of Westeros, while south of the wall, noble families are fighting to the death over a chair made out of swords that were taken from the bodies of slaughtered men during one of the worst times for Westeros as a whole. If you look at the continent now, there is one ruler, at least only a throne for one, when before the Targaryen conquest there was civility between houses, and favors performed without the cost there is today. Westeros wasn't a perfect place before Aegon the Conqueror settled the 7 kingdoms, but it was much different than it is now. It started with the children of the forest, living on the land near weirwood trees in caves and swampy lands. Then the first men migrated over and battled them for 2,000 years, cutting down their sacred trees and killing a great number of their race. The children created the White Walkers to defend their kin and their homes. After an uprising from the undead, the children teamed up with the first men to push them to the very far north, allowing them to create the wall with their magic, ensuring that the White Walkers would never come back. Thousands of years later, humans are still fighting over meaningless things in comparison to the big picture. It was these wars between men and women that has caused the growing problem with the second coming of the undead. And as we approach the finale of this story, we can't help but feel the war for the dawn quickly approaching. While the story focuses on the lives of main characters spread out through the vast world, the main dilemma is overall the same for everyone. The living will need to band together, not only to survive, but also destroy the winter. In the prologue chapter of the first book in Martin's series, A Game of Thrones, it talks about how winter and the cold take over a person. It starts out so cold that it burns, hotter than any fire, and as the cold creeps into you, you eventually feel numb. And as you are about to die, you feel better than when it was beginning, almost like a comatose state. The cold becomes so overbearing that it's more peaceful to try to sleep than it is to try to warm yourself up. I've read this description of the cold so many times that I've lost count. The cold may not only be referring to winter itself, but the will to survive as a whole. These families, these houses, they are all killing each other when the real enemy is waiting back behind the wall as humans destroy themselves. The real fight is bringing the 7 kingdoms together, which will likely never happen, at least not in time before everything gets destroyed. In the visions Daenerys has in the House of the Undying, the Mother of Dragons sees the Red Keep. She sees the throne room torn apart and freezing. She is alone with no one by her side, not Tyrion, not Missandei, not Varys. She is by herself, in the one place she sought most for the whole set of events throughout the series. She may very well be the queen at King's Landing, but possibly with no one to rule. Jon Snow, the other main character of the story, now knows the true threat of Westeros, but to me, it seems Jon will watch many people die because of their lack of trust in the threat of the undead. At Hardhome, he saw men and women resurrect into whites faster than they died. He saw friends and family die, with him unable to do anything about it. He will continue to experience this pain. I think there will be a bittersweet ending, in which the cold will overtake many people, lowborn and highborn alike, all because these people refuse to band together and support the human race. In the end, as Jon Snow experienced, the dying people of Westeros will realize the religions that they worshipped in life led them to nothing but darkness and nothingness. It was merely a covenant that taught people the morals to live by, creating a model temperament for all humans to follow. The survivors will have to start again, much like after the original War for the Dawn, only to continue a repetitive history much like it has repeated itself in the real world. Let me know what you think. This was my symbolic explanation as to how I feel the ending could go. I didn't specify too much as to which characters will survive or die, but I wanted to give a more broad viewpoint on the world itself being affected by the final events of the story. Make sure you post your thoughts on how you see the ending taking place. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Do me a favor and share this video if you liked it. Go check out Geek Fuel so you can get your exclusive Game of Thrones item in this month's mystery box. Have a great day, take care, and I will see you tomorrow.